Okay, yes. Okay, collecting can be right as well. He came to check and collect them. This would be a very, yes, a very contradicting answer, right? Because there's both sides that say different answers. Okay, understandable. Okay, this is, yes, very contradicting. But I would say that I can still accept came to check on the giraffes. So how oh, you just need to know that this passage wouldn't come out tomorrow. I mean on Thursday. So this passage wouldn't come out the same passage on Thursday because it came out last year. So don't worry so much about it. Okay, just learn the skills to answer the comprehension passage. Okay, Xiao Wei, I'm so sorry for this. I'm actually also um unsure about your teachers answering rubrics as well, so I can't really help for this. But what I can say is to learn the techniques to answer the 1 mark question, and there are times where there are occasions the testers will accept multiple answers. Okay, so you never know. Okay, for B, both giraffes responded in the same way to the old man's actions. How did they respond? Right, how did the giraffes respond? Okay, I believe most of you actually have the answers for this um whole paper already, because tomorrow is 2024 paper. You confirm have to do last year's paper, right? So for 9B, both giraffes responded in the same way to the old man's actions. How did they respond? Okay, how did the giraffes respond? They were both calm. Yes, they both became calm, right? After the old man's cooing, they became calm and still, right? Yes, so that is correct. So the giraffes come down. Okay, the giraffes come down. Okay, moving on. In paragraph 4, the writer uses the metaphor broke the spell to describe the arrival of the zoo dog. Okay, that's the vet. What does the spell refer to? Okay, what does the spell refer to? Okay, what would the spell be? The silence. Okay, CY says the silence. The spell refers to the atmosphere, can the passage. Oh, I love Western food. You want to see the passage. Okay, sorry. Let's go to the passage. Okay, yes. Broke the spell. Right. The arrival of a well-scrubbed college boy type in white coat clutching a black bag broke the spell. Okay. So, for a moment, the only sounds in the world were the giraffes breathing, the old man's cooing, and the water lapping against the dockside. Okay, it broke the spell. So, someone said the silence, that is correct. Okay. Spell refers to the atmosphere. Atmosphere is a very vague word because you have to describe what the atmosphere was. It was a silent atmosphere. It was a moment of peace, right? So the spell actually refers to the moment of peace. Okay? It wasn't really silent because you could hear the giraffes breathing and the old man's cooing. Yes, you can say the calm and peaceful atmosphere. Yes, that is acceptable. Okay, but you are not able to say it refers to the atmosphere. You have to describe the atmosphere in order to get your mark, because the atmosphere can be something else and it will be a very vague answer for the examiners to accept. Okay, where the giraffes were being calmed. Okay, what is the effect on the reader of the metaphor broke the spell? What is the effect? This is a tougher question, right? Okay, what is the effect on the reader of this metaphor? Okay, what would the effects of the reader on the reader be? Okay, does anyone have any idea on the effects on the reader of the metaphor broke the spell? Okay, breaking the spell. So it's actually a metaphor, and what would the effect be? So highlight the importance of the presence of the zoo doctor. Okay. On breaking the spell would be more on focusing on the moment of peace instead of the arrival of the zoo doctor. But I understand where you are coming from. And this is actually a valid answer that actually I would like to accept as well. But however, we are focusing more on the effects on the reader, right? On breaking the spell is actually creating a sense of suspense, or creating a moment of suspense, like what happened, why was the silence broken, to create the moment of suspense, because it tells the reader that the moment of peace was over. Okay, question 11. At the end of paragraph 4, the reality of the giraffe was critical. Your true answer is reminding the reader that the reality of the giraffe was critical. Okay, the reality of the giraffe's condition was critical. Okay, yes, I would say that you can follow your school's answers, because for O level papers, right, the Cambridge doesn't give us the answers. Like Cambridge wouldn't give you the correct answer for the questions. They only give you the question paper, right? So for every single school, every teacher, every different tuition center, we come up with different sets of answers that actually think what suits best for the students to revise and use them in the exam. So it may differ from school to school. Like if you go and compare your school with your friends other school paper, the answers that their teachers accept is actually relatively different. Okay, so there can be a chance that our center, which is writers, we give the answers that actually differs from the school papers that your teachers come up with the answers. So it actually depends, it's up to you on how you want to revise using your school resources, or you can actually just look for us as a reference. Okay? Can explain the suspense part for 11B. Okay, so broke the spell, creating the moment of suspense, right? It tells us the reader. Okay, yes, the suspense part, right, can actually be seen. Okay, because over here, broke the spell, right? Broke the spell, right? Breaking the spell, we need to know what the spell is. Then it will let the readers read on, like, what is the spell? Where is this? What is going on over here? What do you mean by the spell, right? So we will be it creates the moment of suspense for us to find out like what happens after. Yes, so that is why you can also use suspense to answer this question. However, for Xiao Wei's answer, right, previously over here, to highlight the importance of the presence of the zoo doctor, I didn't really think about this part of the answer. However, I feel that if I was the examiner, I feel that it is actually partially correct as well, because the appearance of the doctor would say that, oh, it brings us back to the reality of the giraffes being in the cage and they need to undergo some um bandaging, right, for the legs. The tangled giraffe, they need to undergo some treatment. But yes, for our center, we actually give you the answer to be the sense of suspense. Okay, so it actually might differ from your school teachers who have given you the answer from your department. Okay, moving on. At the end of paragraph 4, the dog workers are trying to get the female giraffe to her feet. Explain how the language used in this paragraph emphasizes how difficult the task was. Support your ideas with 2 details from the paragraph. Okay? 2 details. Okay, so end of paragraph 4. They are trying to get the female giraffe to her feet. Okay, the language used in the paragraph emphasize the difficulty of the task. I can never do language use questions. A4 paper, I understand there's many students who struggle with this. 2 marks is really hard to get for language use because many of times students actually struggle on how the language is used, which is why comprehension is actually very critical, and English actually is a relatively challenging subject for a lot of students to get A1. Is this the evidence and explain question? For this question, yes, you have to quote the evidence on the language and you have to explain why this language is used. So it is the evidence and explain question. Okay, for question 11, right, for paragraph 4, okay, what is the language used and how you explain it? Okay, hold on, my TikTok is lagging. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so over here, right, the language used. Okay, so let me switch to another color for the highlighter. First, I erase the annotations for the previous one because this question. Okay, yanking at the crush plate. Okay, what does this mean? Okay, we have to see the difficulty, right? There is difficulty of the task over here. Okay, difficulty of the task, right? So for the difficulty of the task, yes, yanking at the crush plate can be a possible answer, right? Okay, started yanking the crush crate around the tangled giraffe. Okay, I will highlight this whole thing. Okay, not fast enough for me or the old man. Okay, workers plunging their hands in to steady her. The signs of struggle. Plunging, yes, A4 paper, that is correct. You actually identified the point, right? Okay, so yes, I love Western food and A4 paper, too much effort, yes. Okay, so let me just quote the sentence first, right? So the crush crate around, okay, yanking the crush crate around the tangled giraffe, okay, shows that there were signs of struggle, right? There were resistance, there were signs of struggle, there was resistance from the giraffes. resistance from the giraffes. Okay. There were signs of struggle from the giraffe is also fine. Right, going back to the passage, if you can see over here, right? Because the two dog workers with crowbars, they yank at the crushed crate around the tangled giraffe. So it's the two workers yanking, it's not the giraffe yanking, right? So there was difficulty in the task. There was a mess. There was a mess to clear. There was a mess to clear in order to free the giraffes. Okay, sorry. Let me erase this. There was a mess to clear in order to free the giraffes. Okay, next, support your ideas. Okay, so this is the first idea. We have 1 mark already. Okay, and to get back on their feet. Okay, to get back. Okay, on the feet. Okay, point number 1. What about point number 2? Okay, point number 2 was someone saying that workers plunging in their hands, right, to steady her. Okay, steady her. Okay, I have no space, so let me just write dot 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 something. But please write out the whole sentence in the exam itself. Okay, this would show that the crane was not even enough, right? The crane itself was not enough to stabilize the giraffe. And it required workers to stabilize the giraffes, and it's implying that the difficulty encountered in trying to bring the giraffe to her feet was very tough. Was not enough to stabilize the giraffe to back on its feet. Okay, back on its feet. Okay, yes. So from paragraph 5, explain why the zoo doctor tutted and shook his head. Okay, tutted means to make the sound, right? This sound. Okay, this is tutted. Okay, paragraph 5. Let's go to paragraph 5. Why did it tut and shook its head? Okay, where is paragraph 5? Paragraph 5 is here. Okay, yes. Paragraph 5. Hi, is doing TYS enough to prep for paper 2 this Friday? It depends on your level of preparation. Okay, hello, user. Yes. For some students, doing TYS would really help with them because they are just doing revision. At this point, you are already so near to the exam, so you are just doing revision for your paper already, right? So yes, doing TYS now should be helpful to you in the sense that you have to check and mark your papers rather than just doing it and leaving it there, because you won't know your mistakes. One thing that is very important is knowing where and what type of questions you struggle with for paper 2. So for paper 2, if you struggle with summary the most, just try to do and revise on tips on summary and read on synonyms to paraphrase the summary. Right. Okay. So from paragraph 5, right? Why did the old man tutted and shook his head? Right. Okay. The doctor tutted and shook his head over here. Isn't paper 2 Thursday? Yes, paper 2 is on Thursday. I think he messed up the dates. Okay. So yes, you only have 2 days left. Not even 2 days, just 1.5, because today is we're already nearing 5 p.m. So you have tonight and tomorrow. Then you are off to your paper on Friday. On Thursday. Sorry, on Thursday. I'm so scared. Okay, Javier, that is very normal because most of the people will be very worried for O levels as well. But it's okay. Take your time. Right, no matter what, you have already prepared for this day over the past 4 years in your secondary school. Okay, so just take it easy, okay, and try your best, right? Leave no regrets because you are trying to study as much as you can now. You can't really cram a lot of information at last minute. So what I recommend you to do is do summarizing on your topics for paper one as well. I'll be going through paper one later on since we might have time for paper one. Okay, am I late? We started the live 1.5 hours ago, right, Ash? So it's fine. We still have another compre passage to go through. Okay, if you are doing your O level paper this Thursday, what I can recommend to you is to practice your paper two on the parts that you are weak on. Just like summary, just find the passage that asks you to summarize the paragraphs. You don't need to read the whole passage. You only need to know the 2 paragraphs you have to summarize. Summarize it, mark it yourself, or maybe if your secondary school teachers are there to help you, you can send it to them, even though one day wouldn't really, it would be a very tight schedule for them, I would say. What does groaning refer to? Oh, the groaning refers to the giraffes because you can see that over here, groaning as the crane heaved her upwards. Yes, so the groaning refers to the giraffe. I do specimen paper, does it help? What do you mean by specimen paper? As in like other school papers, is it? It's no workers ah. No. This refers to the giraffe groaning. Okay, what does it mean by the straps when taut? The straps tighten. So when the straps tighten, right, the giraffes will definitely feel uncomfortable, right? Because like even when yourself you get tied up, right, you definitely feel uncomfortable and like it might be painful if the ropes are too tight. The straps are too tight. Oh, because it was stretching and the strap made the groaning sound. I don't think straps would make groaning sounds. Okay. In this case, I think it's a bit vague, but I believe the paragraph is telling us that the giraffe was groaning as the crane heaved her upwards because they had to steady the giraffe. So the giraffe was groaning in pain because there is only 3 of her 4 feet that is supporting her weight. So the giraffe was already injured. Okay, the giraffe was injured. Your cher used that as answer. Oh, really? I don't think the workers groaning. No, it's not the workers. Hey, so we were at this question that we left off. Explain why the zoo doctor tutted and shook his head, right? So the zoo doctor tutted and shook his head at this part I highlighted over here. Okay, I highlighted over here. Okay, this. Explain why he did this. Okay, why did the zoo doctor do this? Tutted and shook his head. It means that he was already in disapproval of something, right? 2 weeks to go to California. 2 weeks. So, why did he do this? He feels that the giraffe would not make it on time. Okay. Right. It is more on how the giraffe would not be able to stand. Yes. So yes, that is actually the correct train of thought. Okay, Javier, that is actually not bad, right? Because the giraffe was already in pain, right? And the doctor was the old man was still cooing, reach in and loosen the straps. But the giraffe was already standing on her own after the straps like pulled her. However, it takes 2 weeks to get to California, and he is more worried that the giraffe will not be able to stand on its own during the 2 weeks. Unable to stand throughout the 2 weeks. Okay. The zoo doctor was doubtful that the giraffe would reach California. Not really, I would say. It's not really that. But I have to be specific too in my answers. Yes, you have to be specific, Javier. That is right. However, your specification has to come in the right timing. Okay, some people are too specific in different ways that their answers become redundant and unnecessary points. That it is very wasted for that 1 mark. But no, the zoo doctor is not doubtful that the giraffe would reach California. The giraffe would definitely reach California. It's just whether the giraffe will reach California standing or like in shambles, right? Oh yes, what do you mean by corpse? You mean that the giraffe would die? Like throughout the maneuvering of the giraffe, then it might actually not be able to make it. Okay, so let's see for this answer. Right over here, right, he tutted and shook his head because he was apprehensive, right? He did not think that the giraffe would be able to make it to stand throughout the transportation, to stand through 2 weeks of transportation. Can reach but must add survival of the giraffe. I swear 2023 O-level EL paper is more harder than the other years. Actually, Javier, no. I would say that 2019 paper was one of the papers where more students struggled. However, yes, 2023 is relatively tough as well. However, that there are times where some testers come up with passages that some students really understand, and there are also times where students completely don't understand the passage. So it really dives down to how the students face and read and understand the passage. Is this recorded so I have a way of looking back at this? Yes, it will be on YouTube. Okay. However, the first part of the visual text part was not recorded because of technical issues. So only for the start of this this compre part that we'll record and upload on YouTube. Okay. So do check out our YouTube Writers at Work Enrichment and go to the live segment. We actually have recordings of previous live lessons as well. Right, a recording of 2019 paper where the passage was about Alice and Kasim. That paper was relatively challenging and I actually gave a lot of tips. And some of the students here actually were in that live as well, right? Really needed the visual text part because the options were really tricky. Oh, Xiao Wei, I see. Okay. For the iceberg one. Oh, tricky as in, oh, which options? I see. However, it's fine because for Thursday it will be a completely different visual text, right? So every year there will be different visual text, but how it actually matters is what you understand from the visual text. Okay, what has made the old man believe the female giraffe will make it? Okay, what has made the old man believe she would make it? Okay, what will make the old man believe she would make it? Determine this. The old man saw the giraffe stood up, not a standard, okay? Stood up despite her injury and saw that she was very determined. Is that okay? So over here, right? Okay, the giraffe wasn't very determined because the giraffe have like no spoken feelings. So you can't really see that the giraffe was very determined. But you can see, yes, right, your answer is on the right track. Right, because he saw that supported by the crane, she wobbled, fighting bravely. Oh, your determination comes from fighting bravely to stay upright because she was wobbling. Okay, I understand. Right, but over here, yes, when they were done, the old man reached in and loosened the straps. She teetered but was standing on her own. Okay, so this made the old man believe that she was able to make it to California while standing because when he loosened the straps, okay, when he loosened the straps, when he loosened the straps, the giraffe was standing on its own. The giraffe was swayed unsteadily. Okay, swayed unsteadily, but managed to stand on her own. Okay, so yes, so the giraffe managed to stand on her own. Paragraph 6. Give 3 pieces of evidence from the paragraph to support your answer. This is 3 marks. So evidence, explain, evidence, explain, evidence, explain. Okay, 3 times. Right. The writer decides to go to California. Explain why he thought this would be a good idea. Okay, why did he think that this would be a good idea? Okay, so because he was bored and miserable, unable, unsure of what to do next. This is what the author was doing, right? And a little later, at the last paragraph, paragraph 6, a little later, I watched the precarious load past 2 magnificent storybook animals on the back of a flatbed truck. Is it possible to get a B3 from C6 in prelims for English? Cause I only started studying after prelims. Okay, so after prelims, which means that you managed to study for oral, and how did your listening go? Okay, there is many factors that factor into scoring well in O levels. It's not just paper 2 itself. It actually comes down from your foundations. So studying after prelims may be a very challenging thing for students to catch up to an A1, but achieving a B3 may be achievable. Okay, it depends on how much you study for English, especially after prelims. Maybe you study for English all the way, right? So it's actually possible. I have actually seen people who actually scored C5 for prelims. They managed to get an A2 in the end. So it's actually achievable. Okay, although it was a very miraculous um happening, right? Maybe for prelims the topic of the compo that you chose was not suitable or was not something that you could write on, What if you finish the whole TYS and go through with your teacher? Can you jump from C5 to at least a B4? Okay, if you finish the whole TYS and go through your teacher, you can jump from C5 to at least a B4. Yes, a one grade jump is definitely possible because you went through the whole TYS, right? But the most important thing is, despite doing your whole TYS, did you understand your mistakes? You do the whole TYS not knowing that you already made the mistakes. If you completed the TYS one paper by one paper, gone through them one paper by one paper, you have to set a goal. Your goal is, for my next paper, I must score 5 marks more. Okay, maybe make lesser mistakes. Maybe try to identify more evidences, or maybe score more in my visual text. Try to get full marks for grammar editing. What are your views on the type of essays students should pick for paper 1? Okay, this is a very, very common question. Okay, so for this question, right, what I would like to say is it depends on the student's strengths. So personally, when I was a student, I couldn't write personal recounts because I always cannot manage to describe my feelings of the character very well. Right? I was just a very static writer. I just write on, oh, what happened? What was the climax? I saw the scene before my eyes, and I couldn't believe it. But there were definitely students that did way better, right? So personally, I like to go for argumentative because I like to study for argumentative resources. Argumentative is a very good strategy for students who struggle with description. Okay, a descriptive personal recount essays would be students who like to describe and write a lot about the surroundings, the feelings, right? Yes. So some students are personal recount writers because they can draw from your own experiences. Like maybe write about a time where you felt very confident in a situation. Okay? Personal recount is descriptive, right? No, personal recount is more on personal recount, right? Descriptive essay would be describe a place where you like to relax in. Okay, that would be a descriptive essay. That was the 2022 essay question, if I remember correctly, right? Okay, so I will dive into that soon because this question actually is highlighted by a lot of students over here, and I would like to share with you that some of the, if you still have your TYS with you students over here, right, do you have your 2022 model 2022 compose? Yes, right. If you still have your 2022 question paper, right? So there are one, two, three, four. Some people enjoy being in a crowded place, while others prefer quieter with fewer people. Describe your perfect place where you want to relax. When you see the word describe, it is a descriptive essay. A descriptive essay, describing means what? Bring out every single detail, which means that from every nook and cranny, right, you have to describe that thing. Let's say describing my perfect place where I want to relax. Hi, 2023 situational writing was tested on which format? Okay, 2023 situational writing over here. I have the question paper for you. Okay. It is on page 3. Situational writing on raising money, and you have to write an email to in a formal but enthusiastic tone. Okay. To convey your ideas. Okay, so it's a formal writing. Okay, you need to write to your principal. The essay writing question. Okay, so if you see, right, for essay writing questions, right, over here, what is the idea of your perfect afternoon? Describe. This is a descriptive. Okay, this is not a personal recount. It is just to describe your idea of your perfect afternoon. Everyone can have different description of their perfect afternoon. Some people may say that, oh, my perfect afternoon is to um be in the library, relaxing and reading. Some people would say my perfect afternoon would be gaming at home. Right, I will play my video games. The sounds of the keyboards clicking and clacking, or yeah, you just keep describing everything. And the silence, especially when it's raining, the sounds of the rain pitter patter hitting on pelting on your windows, right? It is very calming for you, right? This is the essay. My teacher said descriptive is damn hard to score. What do you think? Yes, descriptive is a relatively challenging type of question for students to score well. I would say that most students actually choose personal recount, right? Maybe majority. I would say that about 60% of the students would choose personal recount, or maybe 70% of the students, because personal recounts would be the most um like more students will actually understand what they have to write, because you see, write about a time when you felt like this, right? So as I look back, I realized I had made the right decision. This is actually a very, very broad thing. Make the right decision to do what? What is your right decision? To join this CCA, to take this subject combination, or to even study for this exam, right? What is the right decision for you? Or the right decision to actually stop playing video games, right? Or to buy something that actually make it life changing. For personal reflective, what do you think is the key point? I can be descriptive in a narrative compo, right? Yes, you can be descriptive, because in a narrative compo, vocabulary is what stands you out. Like what makes you stand out lah. Yeah. Vocabulary is what makes you stand out a lot from other students. Because many students will write the same story over and over again. Examiners will be seeing the language and competency of the students, and those who describe better would generally get higher score for language. I will always panic. Narrative is what? Storytelling. Yes, narrative is like storytelling. So technically, when doing narrative, I'm doing descriptive compo as well. Not really, but in a sense, yes. Okay, there is a perspective that when you are doing a personal recount, you have to describe, but you have to remember that a personal recount has to be in past tense, because it happened in the past. It's a personal recount. A time when you felt like this, right? Even the question is already phrased in the past tense. Please don't write about a predictive passage. Don't be so pessimistic, Javier. You definitely can do well. Okay, Javier, you definitely can do well. Do you have any tips for listening compre tomorrow? Is tomorrow listening compre? Oh, tomorrow is listening compre. For listening compre, my tip is to sleep earlier and keep yourself awake. Because sometimes I have students who tell me that, oh, the story is so boring. They listen to the recording, then they actually like feel very like dazed out, and they actually stone out during listening compre. And they didn't manage to catch the key phrase in time. I just dug my ear. Yes, many students dig their ear before LC. Okay, yes, that is also something that you should try doing. But it's at afternoon. Oh, fresher than a Subway sandwich. You changed your profile picture. Oh, afternoon ah. Oh, so most of you are not even sure on what time your exam is. Okay. Ho Chen Ha, I believe that you are not, because you are able to watch this live, right? So please don't ask that question, because it might not be very friendly to certain community guidelines over here. I heard 90% afternoon for most papers. I see. Okay, 2 p.m. Food coma will hit. Okay, so eat your lunch earlier. Okay, food coma is one of our enemies, right? Falling asleep during the exam is the last thing we want. How do I get my tone to be more informal in writing? Wow, this is a very challenging question from random emojis. Can you explain expository writing? What do you want me to explain about expository writing? Which part of expository writing do you want me to explain? Okay, so there are many different type of expository essays. This difference between expository and argumentative. What is the format and how to identify the question? Teacher, someone asked if he or she getting F9 for please help out. Who? If he or she is getting F9 for English, what do you mean? Who asked that? Did I miss the question? Did I miss the Yes, you can use any you can definitely use any exclamation or punctuation you want on expository writing. I'm not stopping you. Right. Like you are trying to form your argument, why not? Okay. So over here, if you can see, right, someone asked whether 5 and 6 is the same question. No. Okay. There is actually a discursive question. Okay. So this is an argumentative. Okay. Question 5 is an argue. But this is a discursive. Okay, a discursive question is something that you talk in the discussion tone, which means you need two support and two opposing. Two support and two opposing paragraph. One opposite point, then rebuttal. Okay, Jean, that is partially correct. Argumentary and expository can use personal recount. No, cannot. How do we write a good definition for personal recount? As in like, oh, you want to define your personal recount definition, is it? Like you want to define like the main point for your personal recount? Yes, you can just state about the events that happened and what led you to the thinking. State the question. In your answer, remember to state the question thesis. Right, if you don't even mention about the question, you're not even answering the question. Yes, for argumentative 3S10. Okay, for usually argumentative, I would recommend is um one for argumentative, I will recommend one support, one opposing, then you one support again, then you conclude. Okay, this is argumentative. Okay, for discursive, discursive is one support. You can actually two support 2O, one support 1O, one support 1O, or 2O 2 support. Okay, discursive can be in any ways. Tips for speech. Oh, as in oral? No, but oral is over already. What do you mean by tips for speech? I can make up my own statistics if I don't have evidence on a topic. No, you cannot, because the teachers will not take that as a valid evidence. They can actually cross-check your evidence. So please don't make up a random statistic. But what you can do is to try to give a vague statistic, although that is not very recommended. For example, if I'm unsure how many people are there in Singapore, right? I would just say the majority of people in Singapore instead of saying that, oh, 90% of Singaporeans mentioned in this survey. No, I wouldn't say 90%, but I use words like majority to replace the real statistics. So this is the difference in smoking and giving a real answer, I would say. Okay, is there a difference in summary or conclusion for discursive versus argumentative? A difference? What do you mean by summary? Oh, in the conclusion. Yes, there is a difference. Argumentative, right? This is very important. Everyone will make this very common mistake. Must have a stand in the end. Must have a stand, which means that agree, disagree. Choose one. Do not nuance and be in the middle. Do not sit on the fence. No sitting on the fence. Okay, no sitting on the fence. Okay, someone asked, is stand the conclusion? Oh, you can state the stand at the start. So let's say you look at this question. Schools should teach practical skills such as cooking and managing our finances. Do you agree? Then my first sentence will be yes, I agree that schools should teach practical skills such as cooking and managing our finances. Or if you don't want to be so direct, you can say in Singapore, schools actually teach us subjects like FCE. Then you have to write out the whole definition. It's food and nutrition lesson and stuff, right? And managing our finances, they actually teach you on accountancy, principle of accounts, all of these, right? You have to say we offer these subjects in Singapore and everything. So in schools, it is actually very essential for students to learn, because in the growing economy of Singapore, in globalization, right? All these will come to handy, especially in the fast-paced technological world and everything. Therefore, I agree that schools should teach practical skills. So this is just one quick example on to start your essay. Does the essay have to be about cooking and managing finances? It has to be more on practical skills, like such as cooking and managing finances. So you should mention both topics. You should mention both of these, because these are the main points in the question mark. Unless they only ask school should teach practical skills, do you agree? So then you can give your own practical skills. However, this question they already gave you cooking and managing finances, so it's more tricky, and you have to bring in the let's say statistics and evidences from cooking and managing finances. Why cooking? The arguments I can give you right now on the spot that I have thought is why cooking, why school should give practical skills, right? Modern days, the students and children these days, we actually, most of us don't have skills equipped to learn how to cook, right? Most of us actually dine out, so you can actually go do research. What I recommend to students, you only have 2 days left, but this will be very helpful, right? If you plan on writing argumentative essay, it is do you give other examples besides cooking and finances? That is not very recommended, but you may give other examples to support this practical skill. Okay, what other practical skills do you want to bring up? Okay, so for this case, right, cooking and managing, if you want to revise revision tips, let me write down revision tips. Okay, revision tips. So for revision tips, right, argumentative students, gather your resources. Okay, gather resources. What do I mean by gather resources? News article. News, go and read. Okay, gather them into different topics. Okay, let me give you the different topics that you can gather. Most important, tech, health, education. Tech, health, education, environment, culture. Okay, these are very, very broad topics that most of us have. Like, and there are actually a lot more broad topics that news cover as well. Sports. Okay, sports will actually can actually link to health. These are interlinked. Can link to education. And environment can also link to health. Technology can link to all. Okay, can link to health, culture, education, sports, environment. All of these are actually interlinked. All of these are interlinked. Okay, so to be able to study for argumentative resources, if we don't have resources, do we get points deducted? You need, okay, PEEL, as I say, for every argument, PEEL. Without a proper evidence, you will get penalized. Yes, you get points deducted without an evidence to support your point. Because I go on to explain, oh, schools should equip students with practical skills because students don't know how to cook. But why? Do you have evidence to tell me that students don't know how to cook? Or you are just telling me based on your own knowledge, right? I cannot just say that, oh, because at home my brother don't know how to cook, and my parents also don't know how to cook. That is why I feel that school should teach us. No, you shouldn't use your own example. You give me the statistics that the Singapore, the world, right? The news have actually covered that, oh, actually majority of youths in Singapore these days do not have the proper skills on managing their finances. Hoarding, hoarding. Look at the pop mart craze, right? Look at the Labubu craze where people spend hundreds of dollars buying Labubu everywhere. Okay, let me go and read the rest of the questions regarding discursive because there's a lot of spam over here. Right. So if I can see, okay, can question 6 be argumentative? Okay, question 6. Why would it be discursive than argumentative? They ask you, how far would you agree? They didn't ask you, do you agree, why or why not? They ask you, how far would you agree? What does this mean? This means that you have to discuss on the benefits and the non-benefits of the question, right? So let me see if we have a writers at work model compo that I can actually give you on discursive, okay? On discursive question. Let me see, huh? Please hold on. Okay. So, young people spend too much. Okay, discursive, how far do you agree? Okay, it can actually also be an argumentative depending on how you want to argue for the question, right? Because a discursive essay would be, what are your views? What are your views? It will be more vague, okay? So it depends on how the student want to see the question. Discursive, your stand is only decided at the conclusion. Oh, that is for argumentative. Discursive, usually you would weigh both sides. Discursive, right? For discursive essays, right? Okay, can I erase this? Does everyone know that you should study for your resources? Right. Okay, I erase this. Okay, you can go back to YouTube to search this. Okay, after my live, you can go to our YouTube channel and see and rewind if you are unsure of any part that you missed out. Okay, so for how far do you agree? It can be an argumentative. Okay, it's an argumentative. This is an argumentative. Discursive. What are your views? What are your views? Will you be continuing the paper to 2023? Yes, I will go back to that after this. Okay, we'll be ending the live at 6:30. So there will still be time. Okay, what are your views on discursive? So for discursive, right, this type of question will come out and you will know that you have to, at the conclusion, when you conclude a discursive essay, right? Let me give you an example. Okay, an example of a discursive essay that I can find, right? Let me see if I can find a discursive essay for you. Yes, what is your opinion? What are your views? Right. For discursive conclusion, in your opinion, you can find your stand. You can find your stand. Don't state your stand at the start. Okay, a discursive would be that you have to state all your question statements. So for the start of the discursive essay, right, you have to give your 3 topic sentences for your arguments. Okay, 3 or 4. 3 or 4 topic sentences. For question 5, you stand absolute or qualified. What do you mean? You always have an absolute stand, right? Whether you agree or you disagree. Should I copy the content points for summary instead of paraphrasing if I always go off meaning? No, you must always paraphrase. No matter what, right? Students should always try your best to paraphrase and look for synonyms, because for summary is actually very important in paraphrasing, because use your own words as much as you can. Paper 1 has always been a hit or miss for me. Either I do really bad or do really good. That is actually that is actually what a lot of students face. What to write in intro for question 3? Oh, what do you mean by 3 or 4 topic sentences? It means that my first topic sentences would be first point, first argument, and stand. My first argument and stand, second argument and stand, third argument and stand, fourth argument and stand. Right, it means that, for example, this question, school should teach, or maybe all you need to succeed in life is a positive attitude. How far do you agree, right? My topic sentences will be, as much as we need to succeed in life, right? Positive attitude is not it's not most of the things. Other than needing a positive attitude to ensure success, we also need determination. That is my second topic sentence, determination. We also need perseverance. That is also another topic sentence, right? So after you list out all your points, right, your points, determination, perseverance, positive attitude, as well as time management, let's say time management. So now I have 4 points. Then I can start elaborating on my paragraphs based on these 4 points that I have established in my first paragraph. Okay? I am talking about question 6. So all you need to succeed in life is a positive attitude. Okay, thank you, very room. Okay, what is the intro for question 3? What is the intro for question 3? Okay, for question 3, right, what is your idea of a perfect afternoon? Okay, let me give you an example of an intro for this type of question. Okay, what is the idea of a perfect afternoon? Okay, so let me see if I can gather a paragraph out in my mind. Right, it is actually quite tough to. Okay, let me say that, okay, to many people, right, the idea of a perfect afternoon may be synonymous with quiet tranquility, existing as a state of mind that would stipulate the submergence of one's self in calmness and quiet, right? So this would be my definition for a perfect afternoon. So, however, right, being too calm and quiet overwhelm my senses and might make me feel anxious. So my idea of a perfect afternoon is to relax with rain sounds. Like a rainy afternoon would be the idea of my perfect afternoon, right? Where I can sit by the window listening to the raindrops pelting against the surface of the glass panels, right? Describe and talk about it. Okay, so the rainy afternoon serves as a respite from my hectic mind. Every aspect of this is able to calm my nerves and silence my innate chaos. So every nook and cranny, right, have to be described. in the passage itself. Which essay is easiest to write? Are you asking me for my opinion? Because every student have different strengths. And personally, what I would write, right, I would write question 6. Okay, for my take, if I was taking this paper, I would have written question 6. Okay, I like to write argumentative questions. Okay, so it would be a question 5 or question 6 for me. Okay, but for some students, they would pick question 4. How far do you agree is discursive? No, it is argumentative. Okay, for discursive, it will be what is your opinion or what are your views. Why question 6? It's quite hard to unpack the question. Yes, it is hard to unpack the question, but as long as you unpack the question right, you are able to score really well. Okay, because for question 6, right, you can see, right, all you need to succeed in life is a positive attitude. So that is the same meaning as you only need a positive attitude to succeed in life, which is not true, right? You can have a lot of things that you need to succeed in life. Time management, perseverance, hardworking, determination, all of these values, right, to succeed in life. What is your definition of succeeding as well? Unpack succeed, unpack other points other than positive attitude. Then you can elaborate. It will be a very good essay for us to write. What is my definition of success and a positive attitude? Yes, so different people will define success differently for every single essay, right? Not every student will think that, oh, success is to, some people may think that, oh, success is earning a lot of money. Some may think that success is having an established family, or like spending time with friends. It's a success for you. Everyone defines success differently. But maybe personally, succeeding in life would be to have strong connections and um to overcome all my challenges would be a succeed in life, right? To lead a peaceful life. So to have a positive attitude. Other than this, you also need determination from setbacks. Okay, determination from setbacks, time management. Time management is very essential as well, right? Because in life, you need time management. You are unable to meet your punctuality, right? No, hardworking. It depends on how you unpack positive attitude. Okay, for C, right? Some people may define hardworking like you, right, as positive attitude. However, right, as much as I would say, everyone unpacks questions differently. Everyone describes a narrative, a personal recount differently. So, for a positive attitude, it would be to face the problem without being too pessimistic. Some people may say that. Okay, how to write summary for discursive essay. Okay, so in that example, right, for a discursive essay, what are your views? So overall, you can say that in conclusion, okay, let me go and look for an example of a discursive essay for you to see. Right, for a discursive essay. Okay, let me take a look. Okay, by the way, right, actually writers at work, we have this model compo from 2016 to 2022 O-level model compositions. And they cover every model compo for every type of question. And we give you a vocabulary bank as well. It will be available in our Writers at Work website. Okay, so you can actually purchase them on our website for our 2016 to 2022 O-level model compo. So you can actually go and take a look if you want, or you can share it with your friends, right? You can split and take a look at the Writers at Work. Okay, let me see if I have the discursive. Let me see. Sorry for the wait. Okay, discursive. So, for evaluating a discursive essay, a strong evaluation would add credibility to your arguments and make them appear more convincing because you show the examiner that you are able to think critically beyond just stating plain arguments. So, that is why discursive is really, really hard to score as well. Yes, English is so hard, not gonna lie. I'm gonna cry. No, so you user, don't cry. This is actually a challenge every secondary 4 student face. Okay, so here are some tips. Right, a few common ways that you can evaluate an argument. Okay, please take it down. So, A, you have long-term versus short-term impacts. Long-term versus short-term impacts. Okay, maybe I should write it down for you. Long-term versus short-term. Okay, let me just write it in short form. Okay, consider counter arguments and think about whether the arguments would be applicable to different contexts. So, let's say that I give you an example. For someone who asked me, right, someone kept asking about the discursive conclusion. So let me give it to you now, since that I should answer your question. Okay, so for this, it would be maybe in a nutshell, learning how to respond positively to mistakes is essential for future success. Okay, mistakes can happen for the best of us. Okay, however, after all, I believe that we can never make the same mistake twice because the second time we make it is no longer a mistake, it's a choice. So it is on how you answer your argument. In the long run, I feel that happiness or success is determined by positive attitude. Yes. However, in short term, success should be defined by time management. So that is how I argue my conclusion. No, you don't describe as much as descriptive. Okay, lol, lolly, lolly, lol. Okay, you don't really describe a lot for personal recount compared to descriptive. Because for a descriptive essay, right, all you are doing is to describe what happened. But for narrative, you need the build up. The build up to the event. After the event, what you learn from the event is also very important. When I side with agree with an argue question, should my conclusion side with agree only to? Yes, you should. You can discuss why other people may think that they disagree. Let's say I agree that people should be taking part in environmental activist programs, like we should help to save the earth. But some people may disagree because they feel that this is the government's job. Okay, so you have to outweigh the balance scale. As you can say, an argumentative essay is always on balance, right? Something has to tilt the balance so that it's tilted. Okay, so that the thing comes down. How to write summary for descriptive essay? I just mentioned it. No? How many supporting and contradicting points should I have for argumentative? Oh, I stated it here. Any tips for personal recount? Oh yes, someone kept asking me about personal recount. Sorry, JR. Let me get to you. Okay. Tips for personal recount. Okay, personal recount, right? You can make up the story, but please don't make it very unrealistic. Okay, honestly, I've seen people writing a lot of unrealistic points that they get penalized. Right? Example of them participating in the Olympics. This is not a right personal recount. Please don't say that you participated in the Olympics. Maybe just the normal competition will do. Okay, you do not need to make it sound so out of the world, right? A personal recount is just something that seemed like it happened to you, right? Instead of participating in Olympics, maybe inter-school games would be more relevant. Okay, so for this, right, the more important thing is you have to revise a bit of vocabulary. How to add case studies if you can't think of one in the exam? Oh, I always like to tell people that COVID is the best case study.
Just one shot now. Oh, okay. What time is it?
How to do narrative? I hate it. Okay, so for this case, right? Okay, let me just answer one question at a time. COVID is a very good example. Technology, health, environment, everything is linked to COVID. So study your COVID examples. Okay, for argumentative essay. If you are unable to think of it, it will come to your mind naturally, right? Study some broad topics, I would say. Like go and read up some news articles that is more relevant. Don't go into the exam with an empty mind that you are not even prepared for any topics with zero evidence and you expect yourself to write a good argumentative. No, I would recommend you choose another topic instead, right? If you are not even prepared with evidences for an argumentative essay, please do not go ahead to write it. How to do narrative? I hate it. Narrative is more on the events that lead up to it. You unpack the question point. Narrative is actually relatively easy, just that a lot of students are able to score well and higher than many others because they are able to give a very good um, build up, a suspense to the leading events in the question. So I had made the right decision. Some students are able to unpack this question very well. Okay, which is why they are able to score higher for this type of question. Can I write in such a way where I state two paragraphs supporting the questions followed by one contradicting paragraph? Yes, you can. Okay, you can. It just depends on how you want to nuance your points and how you want to let the reader see your arguments that is presented. But please don't bind two arguments into one. Many people like to list the arguments, right? Then after that, both arguments are the same point. For example, why is like example is all you need to succeed in the life is a positive attitude. Then some people say being positive is very important to succeed in life. That is the first point. The second argument they say being happy is also facing the challenges with a happy mind is also very important. No, that is the same point. Okay, being happy, facing a positive attitude, all of this is the same point. Come up with new, different, more contrasting points. I wrote that I was late for something when the question asked for write something you planned but didn't accomplish. Okay. Okay, writing for being late, right? This is your issue. It's not part of your plan, right? Being late is not a good thing to write about when you didn't accomplish something. However, being an unforeseen incident that happened, right? Something that actually happened that hindered your plans would be a more favorable answer. Yes, it is out of context because being late is not very good in this case of not accomplishing the plan. Let's say you plan for a trip overseas, right? You cannot say that, oh, because you missed the flight, then because you woke up late, you missed the flight, then it didn't accomplish. No, that is out of context. What the question is asking for, something that happened that stopped you, right? Something that happened, what could it be? Something major that happened. So you have to dive deeper into the aspect. Like maybe suddenly you got nominated for a very important prize presentation ceremony with the president or something like this, and you really have to attend, which is why you have to postpone your trip. So that didn't accomplish. Or you planned for this project to be launched, but however something broke, right? Your presentation, you plan to surprise your mother, however the thing broke last minute, so it didn't accomplish, the surprise didn't come through. Is AI being Does AI bring flexible the same as AI being convenient? Oh, AI being flexible and being convenient is similar. However, AI being convenient and AI being replaceable is not the same point. So you really have to figure out the main points. And as I say, you can actually use AI to revise for the exams. Okay. So you user, right, really need to think through in the exam when you are planning your essay, right? Think whether you are answering the key points, because sometimes what they are looking for is not just merely short events that stops you from accomplishing. They want you to write about the impact of that event such that you didn't even accomplish in the end. Okay, yes, your situational writing saved you, definitely. Descriptive is easier than narrative. That is up to the students themselves, right? As I say, every student have different strengths. I can't say whether which is easier for everyone because I don't have um I don't believe that everyone is the same. Some students are better at narrative, some students are better at descriptive. What's the difference with narrative and personal recount? It's the same. Okay, lolly lolly lol. It's the same. So technically, having one paragraph of AI being flexible and one paragraph only being convenient is stating the same point. You can put both of them in the same point. You don't need to split them into two paragraphs because the teacher will group them into the one paragraph as well. However, you can see that AI being convenient and AI being overpowering humans, right? Being better than human resources. That can be the other point instead of being flexible and convenient because the ideas are too near. Okay, it is a very dangerous move. Are there any tips for narrative? Read more model essays, I would say, because without reading your model essays, the schools definitely give you your friends essays, right? They print out, oh, all the top scorers essays for you, or maybe go online, you read all the narrative essays. All these will help. Okay, there is not much you can do now other than to revise on some vocabulary, read through to get some ideas for narrative essays. That's all you can do. And try to describe your characters and surroundings more, right, to get a bit of language points. Tips for descriptive writing. Descriptive writing, vocabulary, study vocabulary, and don't describe out of point. Describe and stay within the point, but don't be too naggy. Yes, a lot of people like to describe the same thing over and over again. This bottle of water quenches my thirst. This bottle of water is very nice because it comes from the mountain Alps or everything. And they just kept describing the same thing and it's very boring. So for descriptive essay, it's actually quite difficult for students to score. Yes, okay, mostly for argumentative, just need factual evidence. Besides COVID and AI, what are some recommended case studies that we should read on to get some ideas? Read on education, health, environment. Right, there's so many more. Okay, just now I wrote down but I erased it. But let me write them down again. COVID, tech, education, health, culture, 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 arts, politics. Okay, culture, arts, politics, COVID, tech, health, AI. AI is part of tech lah, okay? Let me just not write that. Tech, let me see. Environment, yes, environment, other than this, what else do we have? Oh, previously I wrote about, there was more, right? But I know that all of these can be interlinked, especially with technology. Oh yes, education. Education, education. This is quite important because a lot of time, many of times, the testers, examiners like to set question that say that, oh, education nowadays, tuition. A lot of students like to pursue tuition lessons. Do you agree? That students should attend tuition lessons on top of going to school, right? So read up on education, the statistics on students going to tuition, right? This is actually quite commonly tested as well. Okay. Okay. How will you pass if the argument doesn't have any example but decent language? Okay, it doesn't have any example but different language. Okay, for argumentative can give our own example. Okay, will you pass if your argumentative doesn't have any example? Will you pass your argumentative doesn't have any example but decent language? Okay, so uh for this case, right? Okay, decent language wouldn't really bring you a lot of mark, but yes, lack of evidence can penalize you, but you really have to excel in your explanation because evidence is what backs you up on your explanation. So lacking of evidence, right, you are unable to actually give your um let's say like valid points, right? You are unable to give your reasoning. Let's say I want to explain that, explaining that health is important for people. Why? Right? I can't just say that, it's because people need to be healthy. No, give the statistics that, rising population, old age population, and everything, right? So for this, yeah, it's actually very important. Oh, yeah, I got 4 for content. Okay, for argumentative, can give our own example, right? That is not recommended. Okay, that is not recommended. Okay, decent language as in clean language, and you use sentence stems and connectors, traffic lighting. Will personal experience suffice? No, for argumentative, personal experience is not very recommended. Okay, please use proper statistics. Okay, please use proper statistics. Where to read on all the data? You can read search news articles. News articles. Yes, or maybe you can watch videos. Okay, I actually like to ask students to actually watch videos on their free time, right? More on current affairs, right? So watching some videos like maybe even National Geographic or something from these channels can summarize news even more clearly for all of the students to see and visualize and understand that, oh, they are actually telling us about the importance of AI. Okay, tech. What do we have? Tech, AI, deepfakes. Okay, AI, deepfakes, all of these. Okay, all of these. Why though? Because personal experience cannot fully support your explanation in an argument. Because different people have different personal experience. Example, you say that your personal experience is, I disagree that sports is good for people because you fell down during sports. But some people would say, from my personal experience, sports is what bring me with my friends. Sports is something that motivated me to become an Olympic swimmer or something like this. So personal experience is not a very factual thing to argue, right? Example, if you argue with your friends and you would like to say that, this answer is correct. Where do you look for? Do you look for your personal experience, your personal opinion, or do you look for the answer key? You actually look for the answer key, right? Let's look for the answer key and we see who is correct. Okay? So that is the more important thing on understanding why you cannot use personal experience in argumentative writing. Okay? It is okay to bring in a bit of personal experience if you really have no choice. Okay? Like you really need something to explain, you really need something to write. So it's fine. However, the personal experience can also be something like something you see in your daily life, right? So let's say that while some people actually face a bit of challenges, okay, if we talk about environment, But recently, you can say that, oh, global warming is a very big effect. Okay, this is something all of us know. It doesn't really need to be very numbery statistics. How should I start my contradicting point in argument essay? Okay, you can just say that naysayers may argue. Naysayers may argue. Okay, naysayers may argue that. Dot dot dot. How should I start my contradicting point in argument essay? Critics work too. Yes, critics, naysayers. That works. Okay. How to write rebuttal, or should I just not write? No, you must write a rebuttal, JR. Okay, please write a rebuttal. As I have given revision tips for personal recount for a lot of times already. For personal recount, please. Okay, so let me just repeat this once and for the last time. For personal recount, for those of you who are still here, I will not talk about this anymore. Okay, I have to move back to the Compre OE, the last question, and summary. Okay, there is no structure for discursive, unfortunately. I only gave you that discursive is usually the question where they ask what are your views, what is your opinion. Okay, there is no structure. Or you mean like for this one. Okay, there are 3 types of ways you can answer. Okay, JR, writing a rebuttal is really important. You have to give the contradicting standpoint. So let's say that I'm writing question 6. All you need to succeed is like in life is a positive attitude. No, that is not all you need, right? You definitely some people may say that you do not need a positive attitude, right? You may need determination or like time management. Okay, that may be a rebuttal itself already. Do we bring in another supporting point considering that a rebuttal is sort of a supporting point? What do you mean by that? Okay, so for rebuttal, right? You are already rebutting. So once you start your answer, you support. Okay, let's say that, oh yes, I agree that schools should teach practical skills. Then the disagree part, no, schools should not waste time because practical skills is a waste of time. I feel that many students already struggle with 4 subjects or maybe 7 subjects, right? Many students already struggle with 7 subjects. We shouldn't bring in more of these lessons. However, they should learn at home. Then another supporting point you come up with is no. However, I still think that practical skills is very important because in the future you need to be independent, right? And we are not trained to be independent individuals and stuff. Okay? So that is how you say. What's the difference between discursive and argumentative? Wow, I have repeated this very like okay, let me just repeat this one more time. Okay, so the difference between discursive and argumentative is discussion and argument. Discursive essay, you discuss about the points, discuss about what are your views. You didn't need to state a stand at the start, right? For discursive, you don't need to say that, oh, I feel that I strongly agree. No, you don't need. You can just start off the paragraph and say that, oh, explain, unpack the question, give your points, then you conclude. Okay, so that is just a discursive. But for argument, please state your stand, you agree or disagree, and at the end of the essay, state your stand, agree or disagree. Okay, that is more important for an argumentative. Okay, so for those who are just here, I have to move on to my paper 2 because some people are waiting to go through the paper 2. Okay, so we are back at paper 2. Okay, yes. So in paragraph 6, the writer decides to go to California. Explain why he thought this would be a good idea. Give 3 pieces of evidence from the paragraph to support your answer. Yes, user please read, you can watch back our YouTube replay. If you're unsure of anything, I've actually answered most of the questions regarding compo writing skills and essay for this, because we are running low on time. So thank you for your patience as well. Right, you can seek our content back on our website as well as our YouTube channel for more information after the live. If you copy from paragraph and just change a little, end up I get 10 marks. Oh, okay. So you just need to make sure that you change the main points to paraphrase the correct things. Because some people, they actually don't manage to paraphrase a lot and they lose a lot of marks in terms of the paraphrasing. Okay? Yes. So for user 9854, yes, if you still have any more questions regarding the compo, you can just ask over here. I'll answer it after the paper too. Suggests that something good will happen to the writer if he goes to California. Okay, go back down to the essay to see, right? So, worries about my future loom larger and larger. But wait, perhaps the female survival was a sign. Okay? Do you think the TYS answers are reliable? Most teachers says that it's not. However, for students, your only source of answers is from the TYS, right, to refer to. I wouldn't say that they are 100% reliable, but you can still use them as references because they are still done up and did by like people who actually tried attempting this passage. So I need to paraphrase. For summary, yes, you have to paraphrase in your own words as far as you can. Right, there is a section that they ask in your own words as far as you can. Okay, so for here, if you can see, right, I felt my eyes grow as big as my thoughts. Everybody knew you had to do, all you had to do was find your way there and you live like a king. How could anybody lose their way following a couple of giraffes? Now I knew what to do next. Okay, so for this, what was the writer actually thinking? Okay, the writer, right, was actually over here. 3 pieces of evidence from the paragraph. Okay, so the first evidence would definitely be that he thought the female survival was a sign that a miracle would happen. So the first thing is survival was a sign. Okay, so first evidence, survival was a sign. Sign. Okay, then he thought a miracle would happen. Why did he think a miracle would happen to him? Okay, so if you see in the passage over here, you can see that he is forced to return to the problems of his own life. Okay, other creatures' miracles don't mean anything when you realize you need one yourself. So he's actually hoping for a miracle. Okay, if that is what answers your question. When they say state or identify an evidence from the passage, is this quoting or need to explain? State and explain means you need to quote, then you explain. Okay? State and explain means you need to quote, then you explain. Okay, so for this question, just now, they say, give 3 pieces of evidence to support your answers. Right, so you have to write an answer and this evidence back the reasoning up. Okay, and the next evidence, he believed that all he had to do was find his way to California and he would live like a king. Right, means that reaching California, okay, find the way to California, king. Okay, means that he thought that reaching Reaching California would dissolve his worries. His worries about the future. Okay, and lastly, the third evidence, right? For anyone to lose their way following a couple of giraffes, because he was confident he has found his direction. He found his direction. Okay, this is the explanation for lose ways following giraffe. Okay, James, I'm not sure about that, but definitely they would have a same marking rubrics for most of the teachers, right? They will go with marking scheme definitely, but we would not receive the marking scheme. Okay, the teachers in Singapore would not get the marking scheme from Cambridge. What is HLAI? What is HLAI? The question you just did. Why was he confident he found his direction? Okay, because he was unsure, right? Afterwards, the thing that gave him the sign, right? The thing that gave, because you see, he was unsure what to do next. Over here, he was unsure what to do next. And next, over here at last, right? He found the direction, right? Everyone knew all you had to do was find your way there. So then he started to run. So he found his direction, which is why he started to run. These questions can copy and paste. You have to quote evidence, you copy and paste, then you answer you support and explain the answer. Okay, do you have any suggested structure and tips for the question I just did? Okay, yes, the structure and tips is actually very easy. You just follow points by point. Okay, so 3 pieces of evidence. One, you quote, then you explain. So I quote, explain why he thought this would be a good idea. Right. So he thought a miracle would happen. I quote and I answer. I quote and I answer, or you can also choose to answer and he quote. Okay, so this is 2 types of way you can answer the 3 points, but please be standardize it. Yes, please standardize it. Yes. Okay. So for this structure over here, you have to look at it and try to see how you want to answer your questions point by point. Okay, so this is something that a lot of students actually find it quite challenging as well, because we don't know the feelings. There is only 4 answers, but you have 7 options. Right. First paragraph. Paragraph 1 to 2. Right. What is the writer actually thinking? Okay. For this case, the first feeling of the giraffe, as he saw the giraffes being lowered by the crates, right? It will be fascination. Okay, fascination. Paragraph 3 to 4, it will be anxiety. Okay, because the giraffes were actually struggling to, they were groaning, right? Because they were strapped and trying to use the cranes to make them stand. Then for the 5th paragraph, it will be relief because the giraffe finally stood, right? Then the old man said that, oh, they definitely can make it to California. And lastly, for paragraph 6, it will be optimism. Okay, optimism, because the writer finally found his way, so he will be very optimistic. Okay, because he finally found his direction. What optimism mean? First, your child says surprise. Okay, but I put fascination. Okay, I believe the answer is fascination. Optimistic is positive. Yes, optimistic is being positive. So stay positive, stay optimistic, right? Pessimistic would be the other way, to be negative. Okay, optimism is positive and pessimism is negative. If I answered your question. Any very important tips and tricks for essay writing? Important tips and tricks for essay writing. Read. Okay, the only thing I can tell you is read model essay, read the news article if you are planning to write argumentative, read up on vocabulary words, read up on synonyms, read up on descriptive words. Okay, it depends on what type of questions you are going for. However, for essay writing, most importantly is to plan. Plan your essay. Please spend 10 minutes. Okay, 5 to 10 minutes to plan your essay before you write. 10 minutes is the maximum because you might run out of time to finish your essay. However, without a proper and concrete structure or plan for your essay, you are unable to form and write the whole essay. Okay, so if that is what you are asking, why is the second one anxiety? Okay, paragraphs 3 to 4, you can see, right? Paragraph 3 and 4. The giraffe swing slowed to a stop and everything, right? So my fears increased as she began to quiver. Okay, so this is more on anxiety. Okay, anxiety would be for this. My fears increased as she began to quiver. Okay, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. Right. So before we move on to the final section, which is summary. Okay, I'll be only going through summary for this part, right? Summary is here. Okay, why do we need to paraphrase? Right, a lot of people ask like why we need to paraphrase for summary. Because we have this sentence. And when we have this sentence, please don't copy and paste. That is very important for most of us to know, right? We have to know all of this. Okay, it's very important for us to know that in your own words, use your own words as far as possible, and all of these types of questions, right? These are the more essential point. Yes, you can copy and paste most, then add connectors, but that wouldn't guarantee you very high scores for language, and you may lose points because without paraphrasing, you are unable to shorten the points, right? Because let's say that you have a one sentence and there are like a lot of adjectives that describe that thing. You are able to cancel out the adjective. You can copy and paste, but please remember to shorten the sentences because you have word count. And usually they are asking you to summarize hundreds of words to 80 words. Okay? To 80 words. Oh, oops. Okay, 80 words. Okay? 80 words. Okay, hundreds of words to 80 words. Okay, so for this case would be um more on paraphrasing to get you more chances to include more points for your summary. Okay, more chance to include more points. Right. And please take note for summary, highlight your points first. Okay, so one, right, highlight points. Okay, highlight points. If paraphrase inappropriately, won't you lose marks? Yes, you would. Okay, so there is a risk on reducing the number of words. You may actually lose points for that as well. Okay, so it really depends on how you actually want to give, because many students without paraphrasing you may lose out 2 to 3 points, and you can actually get 8 out of 15, right, as a benchmark. Okay, not unless confident. Yes, if you are going for a 12 or 13, right, please paraphrase more, because paraphrasing can be easy for some people because they are able to find synonyms really well. But for students who struggle, it is not very great. It's not a very good idea lah. And let's say that you are not confident, it is best to just shorten, cut words. Okay, cut the words, add connectors. That is the best you can do. Okay, leave out unnecessary information. Okay, make sure it flows. Make sure sentence flows. Okay, make sure the sentence flows. Okay, count your words after you are done writing. This is very important to make sure you don't exceed the word limit, right? To make sure that you don't exceed the word limit. Okay, after counting your words, right? Because 80 words is actually very, very less and easy to exceed the limit. Count your words, then you proceed to cut, and edit. Okay, so sometimes I would ask people to actually write a draft if you have time. Okay, you write out a draft before you use your pen to write down the full summary. Okay, that is something that comes with practice, right? Use a pencil, quickly draft it out. Okay, you don't need to draft the whole sentence out. Just draft with dot and cut some words, and you can accurately know about how many words and how many sentences you want to include in your paraphrasing and your summary. Okay, and if not, that is the end of our live today. Okay, so thank you all for joining our live today. And I'm sorry that there was an influx of essay questions that we didn't manage to mm, finish the whole paper two together, but I'm covering this because it's more important for the students. And if you want to know the tones for the author tones for our paper two, please refer to our YouTube channel, and we actually have one of the lives that covered 2019 O level paper two, and I gave you the tones in that video. Yes. So for the author's tone, go to our YouTube channel and go to 2019 paper 2 O level. Yes. And you can see the tones. The YouTube channel is Writers at Work Enrichment. Yes. It's just our Writers at Work YouTube channel. Okay. So you can just go and see in that live. Someone actually helped me to comment the author's tone. Okay, it's actually at the question on author's tone, so you can just refer to that and then you can see already. Okay, if not, yes, if not you can drop us a DM, right, Xiaowei? If not, you can just drop us a DM if you are still unsure of it, and I can just send you the list of tones. Okay, so thank you all for joining. Okay, bye and good luck. Okay, good luck everyone. Okay, I'm Rin, so I hope that I have given you some help and tips for your writing and your English paper, and I hope all of you can get your desired results. Okay, no matter what, you have tried your best and revising everything. Okay, thank you. Bye. Okay, sorry that I'm unable to answer most of your questions, but you can still feel free to drop a DM. You based in Punggol? No, we actually have a lot of outlets, but our main branch is at Tiong Bahru. Okay, Xiaowei, our main branch is at Tiong Bahru. Okay, so Writers at Work is an enrichment center where we have a lot of teachers that teaches from primary to secondary level. Okay, so I'm glad all of you enjoyed the live and learned something new. Right, and I hope you can apply all of these skills in your paper on Thursday. All the best for LC tomorrow. Right, listening, go and clean your ears. Right, get more sleep and drink more water. Okay, bye bye. Yes, thank you. 谢谢. Bye bye.